basically bringing it onto the screen.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 4. Is it 4? We've actually gotten 4 this time.
Yeah, that's 2 months. 2 months worth of interviews.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So,
I mean, an optimist probably would.
yeah, but who's an optimist between the three of us?
I mean, you catch me in the right mood. Just saying.
All right, so today, on this episode of Underground Outreach, we have Micheal Weisneck of Dead Dreams Booking, who's going to talk to us a little bit about some stuff. And we'll go ahead and we'll bring him on. Hello, Mike.
What's up? All right, that's awesome. What's up, guys? How we doing?
Living the dream, or nightmare, but usually living the dream is more like code word for I hate my life.
Oh, always. Basically, yes. You're not
Living
wrong
the dream
at
said
all.
in any corporate setting means just
Help me.
take
I
me
wanna
out
die.
and make it look like an accident, and we can both benefit from this.
Yeah, I'll give you half the workman's comp.
Yeah. We can come
Half
to
the
an
time, I'm just like,
agreement.
guys, if someone hits me, I'll get paid, so do it. They can do it if they want.
So, I know that you are the owner and the main guy, the brains behind Dead Dreams Booking.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how you came to be and come up with this company that you have now?
So basically, Dead Dreams Booking started 6 years ago. This was back when I was newer to the music scene around here, going to shows all the time, and then getting really into it. And eventually, it came to a point where the person that I was friends with that was doing shows back then had to stop doing shows. So I was like, I can do this. I've learned plenty in the last 2 years of going to shows and seeing how they were running things. So I was like, let me give it a shot. And then I did one show for my 21st birthday. That was the first Dead Dream show. And after that, I was just like, okay, I can do more of these. This was good. This was a good... Yeah.
I gotcha.
It's very fun.
No, I could imagine you're promoting shows. You're seeing, you're seeing bands, and you get to actually hang out with them, and the venues, and it does seem like a lot of fun. What would how when booking a band and a venue, how does that work? What kind of work goes into that?
Okay, so with me, I would go to them physically, meet them, not talk over Facebook or email. I would meet them in person, then talk to them, tell them what I do and what I want to do with with or at their venue, and they're just like, yeah, we'll give you a shot and see what happens. And then we get a date set, usually at least 3 months in advance, give it plenty of time to promote a show, usually about 3 months, and then I'll get the date, and then I'll start booking the bands, depending on what kind of show it is. That will determine, the local bands that I get for it. And sometimes it's really easy to get bands for a show, even if it's super far out, and then other times it is a nightmare. Because sometimes, people are just busy with, other shows, because sometimes some bands play a lot of shows and some other bands don't often play, so...
And,
it's hit or miss.
Schedule coordination isn't
Yes.
exactly a fundamental of music theory.
Yes, it really is. Because, even tonight, there's, 5 different shows going on within, the Treasure Coast area, and I'm just like, wow, this is a busy day for people.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a show tonight, right? You're
Yeah.
promoting a show tonight?
Yeah, in Stewart, there's a show tonight.
Oh, really? Where at in Stewart?
East Ocean Pub. It used to be, it's what now is used to be the distillery.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So,
My
Yeah.
old stomping ground, so
Oh, really?
at least that area.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's a
who?
cool venue. The owners are really cool, and it's the first metal show that they're doing at this venue. Like when it was distillery, I used to do shows there all the time. The new ownership, new management, it's different. So now it's the first one under the new management and ownership, and they've been super cool, super down for anything that we want to do. So I'm very thankful for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, new management gives it just a whole new opportunity for them to change their audience, their ambiance, their opinion,
Oh yeah,
basically
very
the way
much
the
so.
the community sees them all.
When the new owners took over, they remodeled the place. It looks a lot different now. Like you know it's the same room, but it's
Mhm.
just a lot prettier now.
right.
So that show is the show that you're having tonight. Is that also the same artists or an affiliated event that you have upcoming? Because I'm pretty sure I saw you had one in sometime in September at that same location.
Oh yeah, we have I want to say shows booked there until like January. We have a bunch that are
Mm-hmm.
confirmed for there, and a couple that are announced already, and then a couple that aren't.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, I was just wondering if you were basically taking like one artist or one band and signing them to like, hey, we're gonna do shows here regularly, kind of thing, or if it was gonna be a different eclectic group of different artists and stuff like that to see how that goes.
Oh yeah, no, just each show is its own unique thing because you don't want to do the same thing every time because that's just boring. So it's always gonna be a different show every time, and I work with so many bands either from here or like further away, like Melbourne, Orlando, Miami, bringing bands from out of town in for to get in front of the audience here and stuff like that. But yeah,
Well,
we have shows booked until the December, January right now, and always adding more.
So you're working with bands that are pretty much all over South Florida, from like down south Miami area all the way up to Orlando.
Oh yeah, we book bands from Orlando, Tampa, Miami. I bring in touring bands from all over the country as well when they're on tour. And I think one time I actually had a band that was on tour from New Zealand, I think it was, and they were super cool dudes. And I was like, that's really cool to book a band from Europe. Who would have thought?
Now that's crazy. What would be
well, I mean, they're kind of close to Australia, and Florida is the Australia of the United States, so
we
they
don't have
at least they were
kangaroos.
kind of at home.
We don't have kangaroos.
We
I
have
wish we had
Florida
kangaroos.
Man. They'll hop into your life, kick you in the mouth, and just hop off. Same way.
All while not spilling their beer.
Oh, that's ingrained in youth.
So Mike, what would you say is one of the? I know that you do mostly local, like underground type bands. What would be the biggest type of band that you've booked at all? Really?
Biggest band I've ever booked, and it literally just happened like a couple months ago. I had Bear Your Dead 20th anniversary shows at Tipsy Tiki in Fort Pierce, and out of 350 tickets, we sold 335. There was 15 tickets left at the door when we stopped doing the door. It was this
At
close to selling
Tipsy
out.
Tiki in Fort Pierce, that little.
That little outdoor tiki bar, yeah.
Oh Jesus,
my
that
gosh.
place?
Oh yeah, there's videos of it on my Facebook and everything. I'll show you guys.
I'm sure a
Oh my
fire
God.
marshal somewhere had something to say about that, or
Oh,
he
you
was
know,
sitting
well,
in the corner,
His spidey
nervous,
senses were
like,
tingling.
just standing in the corner, like, guys, this,
Well, it's funny because a couple of weeks before, like 2 weeks before the show, it was only going to be 300 tickets, and then I can't remember what holiday it was, but I can't remember what holiday, but yeah, they had a show that night that did 300 people, and then they realized that they can fit in more people. So I got called the next day, like, hey, if you want to, by the way, you can add like 50 more tickets if you want. I was just like, sure, let's do it. Let's do it. See what happens. Because if we had it set at only 300, it would have been sold out. So I was like, good thing we added more.
Yeah. Oh man,
That would have pissed people off if they came late and were like, oh, sold out. You can't let you guys in now.
That's a really good question that's brought up. So Ashley brought up, she wanted to know, do you seek out bands, or do bands seek out you for booking purposes?
So it's both ways. Like if I have a show that needs bands, I'll always have like a goal in mind with bands that I do know already, and then I'll reach out to them, and then sometimes if I can't, if bands are busy, then I'll reach out to bands that I don't know that are similar in genre that make sense for the show, and then other times it's, mostly for bands that are on tour, they'll reach out to me first because they're on tour and they want a show and they have to, get like a whole itinerary going. So that's when bands like that, in that kind of situation, will reach out to promoters. But usually, I lost my train of thought for a second there.
Oh,
just as a traveling
band, back and
touring
forth.
band, it kind of makes sense to have an idea of where you're going to go and what you're going to do while you're there.
Oh yeah, there's some times where like a band will be booking a tour and they'll have my date set up because I'm like that. Like I can give you a date, confirm everything in like 2 days, and then other times they have other shows where they have to keep changing stuff around because someone's not answering them, or just bands aren't available, or the promoter is just being a weirdo. There's just so much that goes into it.
Yeah, no, I've actually, so I've always wondered about that. Like what, like, so day of the show, like for instance, today, you're going to the show in Stewart. Once you get to the venue, what happens? What do you do on your end?
So I basically just instruct bands where to set up merch, where to load in their gear, tell the first band you don't have to just bring your stuff right on stage because you're going to be the first band. There's no need to, set it off to the side. Go on stage, sound check with the sound guy, and then, go through your sound check, hang out until doors. If the venue is open before the official door time, once you start doors, have everyone that's inside come outside to do IDs and take the cover charge, and get all of those accounted for, because there's a lot of people that even if a show says doors at 8, people will come at like 7:30, and sometimes
maybe they'll have drinks early.
What was that?
Well, maybe they might be serving drinks by then.
You gotta pre-
Oh yeah, no. A lot of like the
Stuff like
venues that
that.
I would do shows at are usually always open before the official door time. That's why I never mind if people are there early, but it's just when the door time that's on the flyer and that's what has been promoted is once it gets to that time, if you're still there, you got to come pay the cover and get your ID checked because you're going to be here during show hours.
Right.
And if you're not, then if you're leaving, you're good. But if you're staying during a show, you're going to pay the cover and support every what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I basically just tell people what to do and like where to go, and just hope people show up.
Coordinate everything there.
Yes.
So you're kind of like.
And the other big thing is make sure bands don't go over their set times, because a lot of bands do that, and it's the most annoying thing ever. When I tell you have a 25-minute set, that doesn't mean 28 minutes.
Yeah, well, when you're on a strict time limit, especially if a band that's opening goes over, then that means that's less time for the main band.
Yeah. that's happened before, and really badly, like multiple times. But the one that comes to mind, was I did a festival, well, kind of, a couple years ago, and the first band went 5 minutes over time, and that destroyed the entire schedule of the night. I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. The headliner was supposed to go on at 11:30. They went on at 1 o'clock.
Oh, so
Yeah.
like a 5-minute delay like that would actually push something back like 3 hours.
Well, it'll just as a
If bands don't
musician,
want to
what it
listen,
does
and
is, like,
if when bands take their sweet time doing changeovers, and they don't cut their short to make up for that loss of 5 minutes that it went behind, because a lot of bands, they won't, like, you can tell them to, they won't. And then just people were going slow, not having like a system to do. It can definitely get behind like real bad like that. This was like 10 bands too. It was crazy.
Well, I guess like the natural tendency is, especially if it's the first artist or band up, like if they go on however much longer, that's putting the next band literally just sitting there, sitting on their hands, like, all right, great, now what? And then they're gonna still want their guaranteed time on stage, their show time. So they're gonna take their time.
If it's like a band that's a bigger band that's on tour, they'll always get their time. But if it's a local band, I'll gladly be like, okay, you need to like cut a song. Especially after that night, I was like, I am never doing that again. That was horrible. I am miserable right now, and we are not going to have that happen again. I will tell bands that you need to get off in 5 minutes, and by 5 minutes, I mean, if your next song is 3 minutes long, that's all you get. You get that 3 minutes, and then you get off.
You can tell a joke if you're feeling funny, but after that, you're off.
Yeah, basically is when I say when you get that 5 minute warning, that means 3 minutes really.
So it's very much so like a very tight schedule. Then whenever an event's going on, it's like it. I actually never knew that. I didn't think that there would be such a tight schedule to keep. But now when you say that, it's like a what do they call that? A snowball effect.
Oh yeah, basically. Well, for me, some events are different. Like some, I'll be a little bit more lenient on. If it's just like a 3-band local show at the Stamp at Vero, that's one that the first band doesn't start until 10, and you can be a little bit more lenient with times because everyone's just hanging out. There's nothing strict about it. But then other shows, especially with big touring bands, if you're going off time and stuff like that, that makes you look bad, and you don't want that, because they're gonna like tell their agent, hey, this is what happened at this show, and that can affect that promoter or agent working with you again. Is if your shows are a mess,
Right.
Well, even just looking at it from the like lens of trying to put together tours and stuff like that, like the Mayhem Festival was a huge one I used to go to, the Warp Tour, all that shit. Like,
oh yeah, Warp Tour. That's what I grew up on.
If your interpersonal skills as a band are like, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want, we're not gonna really put the effort in to go along with the groove and make sure everybody gets their time, then nobody's gonna want you around.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's one of like a very big thing. If you're not punctual and you're just doing what you want, I'm not going to work with you, because that's just annoying, and I don't have time for that anymore. Not these days.
Right. No, and so I'm assuming you reach out mostly to the talent agents, and they kind of coordinate with the band if they want to do the event that you're putting on or not. Like, do you put on events essentially more? This is kind of a double-ended question. I'm sorry. Put on events geared more towards certain bands, like you're like, hey, I want to work with them, or do you just kind of go, okay, I want to put on an event. I know you said you find people within the specific genre that you're looking for to kind of do it too.
So when it comes to like bigger bands that are on tour, Usually it's all we'll just waiting to see, whoever hits me up first. Because I was just like, whatever, just going with the flow. And, I would have plenty of shows where, like, that would be going on. Like, my email would go crazy with, bands that are on tour and they want to come through here because their friends have come through here already playing my shows, and they were just like, these shows are sick. Let's play here. And then other times, more recently, is when I've reached out to a band's agent, sent them an offer, and wait to hear a yes or a no, or we'll see what happens. And sometimes that has worked out to my advantage, like the Bury Your Dead show. Literally, just one morning, I found uh, their booking guy is actually their bassist or their guitarist. I can't remember which one. And I simply just emailed him, just because, not expecting a response whatsoever. And then I went to bed that night at 5 in the morning. The next morning, I woke up out of nowhere and I had an email that said, "Hey, we actually just got a show offer for Georgia, and your area of Florida is far enough down that it doesn't affect the radius clause of this festival. So let's talk."
That's awesome.
I was like, "Oh shit, am I gonna have Bury Your Dead here? This is crazy. This is actually gonna happen." And then it happened.
That's that's crazy. That must have been. You said you woke up when you woke up to that email.
Yeah, at 5 in the morning, I got a response that said, "Hey, let's do it." Basically, like we're down.
Well, that's largely why I loved growing up in like the South Florida area. Going to the cruise and venues like that. Like I remember one hockey arena for Red Hot Chili Peppers, but just even the smaller venues and shows, like unless you go to the major stadiums and stuff around the country, you don't get the same kind of smaller music atmosphere and the scene that you do in South Florida.
No, and like Tipsy Tiki, that's my place now. After that Bury Your Dead show, I was like, any big band that I bring through here, they're gonna play that Tiki bar stage, and they're gonna have the time of their life. Because it's a small place, 350 tickets, and big enough bands can sell it out. Like if a band would play something bigger, like the Orpheum in Tampa, that holds like 600, 700 people.
Mm-hmm.
If usually bands that'll play a 600, 700 capacity venue, for the right amount of money, they'll play a 350 capacity as well.
It also depends on
a little bit more money.
Personality of the band. Like some bands, if they're just doing it for fun and it's not necessarily about the money, they just want to find the best venues and the best crowds that they can to put on a
some
great
bands
show.
Just want to play shows, and other bands, treat it, more serious, where they're just like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. This is how much we need.
It's more of a business rather than I'm being a showman.
Yeah, like well, there's a couple bands that I can think of that I'm just like, okay, once if we have more money, then we can book this band. But as of right now, no.
No, I remember. Gosh, have you heard of the Solid Sound Studio down in, I think it was like Deerfield or Pompano?
Yeah,
or something?
I know a couple of people that have recorded with them.
I know back when I was in high school, they used to run these little local shows, and they would have the bands promote themselves. They're like, hey, if you want to play here, sell these tickets, and I think they were like $10 usually. And the place was super small. I mean, it probably wouldn't. It makes the Tipsy Tiki look huge, and they had
Solid Sound Studios. That was like you can fit 50 people in that room, and that's like Stamp and Vero. You can fit 30 people comfortably in that bar, and I've had 200 people there.
Those, when it comes to those little shows though, it's insane. Some of the best times that I've ever had.
Craziest time.
I loved it. You're in there with you're in there moshing, and you're in there with a bunch of, it seems like there's a bunch of other guys, and you could feel like, I don't know, the atmosphere,
you're
and
all
also
there,
the sweat.
like that same thing.
It's It's definitely fun. Those smaller venues, I like them a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I've been to like big shows too, but it's, I don't know. You, as a fan, you feel more of a connection with the artist when it's smaller.
Oh yeah,
At
for
least for
sure.
me.
And that's like sometimes like smaller the better. Like I would rather book in a place that holds 300 people rather than a place that holds 1,000 or more, because that's just too technical and too much nonsense. So I would rather do it, shows at like a small place with a small stage, make it more intimate, more fun for everybody involved. Because when you're in a big band, sometimes you get tired of the super logistical big stages, and you just want to play a show where you're right there in front of the people that love your band.
No, yeah, that's. I mean, I'm sure that the big one, like the big stages for artists, are fun, but
They're fun and they're worth it. But then sometimes you just want to play that little room in the middle of nowhere. That's what this area is to Florida, and this is like the middle of nowhere. We're not Miami or Tampa or Orlando, the major cities. We're the area that's the direct center of all three of those.
It's sort of the middle ground where you can go to get your, I don't know, practice time in, your trial runs, figuring out what works for you, gear, traveling, performing, setting up, all that shit, dealing with it.
yeah, yeah. I guess on the way, like a stop on the way, for when you're going from Miami up north, or but the music scene here is, I mean, the local artists that are Port St. Lucie based, also nice flag.
Oh, yeah, so I just had to plug my phone in because I realized that using this app kills my battery.
Oh yeah,
So
sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. It happens.
No, but no, the bands here are just insane. They're crazy. You don't think that there's a ton, right? In the Port St. Lucie, like
In like the
Treasure
Treasure
Coast
Coast area,
area.
there's overall there's not a lot of bands in general, but there's enough that there's so much kind of music around here. Like there's heavy music, there's pop punk, there's reggae, there's so much. There's a little bit of everything in this area, and it's so much variety, but yet, and like there's a lot of people in this area that live here, but it's not reaching to those people yet, and it's crazy how much there are people that live around this area compared to the amount of people that go to shows and go to local live music events. And I'm just like, how do I reach these people? So I was like, I'm gonna start booking bigger shows and taking bigger risks and see what happens. And so far, that's been pretty sick. That they've been working out, because I was very nervous when I was just like, oh, Bury Your Dead is gonna happen. They want this much money. Let's just see what will happen. And then next thing I know, 300 people showed up, and it was a big win for everybody involved.
That's
And
that.
and at that show, there was a lot of people locally that were like, "I've never heard of this place. I never knew anything happens around here. So thank you for doing this." And that felt so good to know that I reached some new people that are going to come out to future shows now, because that's what it's all about, is growing everything.
Right.
Well, giving
And
room and space for it, and not in a competitive sense, but more of a collaborative sense, like being able to
Yeah.
work together and
Yeah, like I know all like the other promoters like around this area, and everyone's cool. There's sometimes we'll have events on the same day, but that's just how that works. Like today, there's a show in Vero. There's another show in Stewart. There's 5 or 6 different shows going on today. But I'm just like, hey, well, it gives a lot of people a lot of something to do tonight. So
right. No. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time left here. Before we go, did you want to plug the show that's tonight, and do you want to plug any other shows in the future for you?
okay, so tonight is 2 local bands, hard rock, metal, at East Ocean Pub in Stewart. It's the former Stillery. It's $5 at the door. You have to be 21. Sorry to everyone that's not under 21. Just some venues have different rules. Then that's another thing that you have to work with is when you're booking shows. You have to say, hey, okay, where can I do this show? What kind of crowd is it? If it's a younger crowd, you want to try for a spot that's all ages or 18 plus. Sometimes you have to go with 21 plus, and just work with that. But yeah, so that's 2 local bands, A Moment of Violence, and Cutting It Close. Doors are at $8, $5. Coming up, there's so much that I can't even think of any. But if you go to my social media, Dead Dreams Booking on Facebook, and then on Instagram, deaddreamsbooking.fl, you can see all the list of shows that we have coming up between now and I think we're announced shows for this month and September. Have shows booked until December, January right now. Plenty more to announce between heavy shows, pop punk shows. We do emo nights. Everything that you can think of, we got it in the works.
Awesome. All right. So guys, everybody watching, if you don't, go ahead and follow Dead Dreams Booking on Facebook and all social media. And if you guys are seeing this on YouTube, go ahead and click like and go and subscribe to the page. And yeah. So, but everybody make sure to go out tonight to the Ocean Pub.
East Ocean Pub.
East Ocean Pub, 8 o'clock. And make sure you're 21 or older.
Right there in Stewart.
Yes, I don't like to turn people away from the door because they're not old enough. Sometimes people don't like to listen to a flyer, what it says.
I remember those days.
Me too.
Man, how can I sneak into this place?
Yeah, no, but if you're thinking of sneak, don't do that. That's
you
bad.
get escorted out.
Wait, don't do what?
2 minutes.
Yeah, no,
Right,
it's not worth
when
it.
I was 16, trying to sneak into 21 up shows.
Oh yeah, no, I don't play that game either. Even if I know you, I'm not gonna let you in.
Well, it's not.
I didn't know anybody. It was just I wanted to see the band, and I made it to the bathroom, and then bouncers.
So it was just you did not walk past me, getting into the door. So who are you?
You're right. I slipped behind that other guy who went in front of you, and yeah, lost. I hid under a trash can and just.
I'm so vigilant that even if we wristband everybody, I'm still just people watching, making sure that no one, because there's other external doors other than the main walk in walk out door. So you always have to be vigilant. And if I see someone without a wristband, I'm gonna be like, hey, I don't care if you were here before the show, you're still here now. 2 hours later, you come pay, or you can get out. If you're just here to drink, you can go drink somewhere else.
Yeah, you got to support the scene if you're going to be there.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when you've been in there for 2 hours.
It's essentially stealing.
You would think, but then some people have an issue with it, and I'm just like, dude, it's $5. It's not that serious.
Just drink one less beer.
I mean,
yeah,
that's what
literally just one less beer.
I'm going to be there long enough. I'm going to be giving them a good amount of money and alcohol anyway, so
$5.
At the very least, I'm supporting the bartender.
And the bands.
Yeah, the bands that are there.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's probably where most of my currency is going to be exchanging. Just knowing me.
But on this one, I think we are out of time. So again, thank you, Mike, for coming on and talking to us. And
of course, it was a pleasure. We're gonna do this again sometime too. I'm sure.
For sure. Most definitely. Well, I know it's been kind of a long time coming here. So
we were first talking about this a year ago at least.
Yeah. Yep. No,
but hey, you made it happen, dude. You made it happen. So
yeah.
And you're good. You guys are doing good with it.
No, thank you.
Of course.
Progress, not perfection.
Oh, I know. No,
hey, any progress is still progress. Better than nothing.
That's what we shoot for.
I mean, at least, really, it's not a train wreck. That's what we're shooting for. But
the FCC hasn't gotten involved yet, so I consider that a win-win.
It's the internet.
I don't care.
The FCC.
That's what I'm saying. It would be a really big problem if they did.
We try to keep the show like kid friendly, but
Oh yeah,
fuck
no.
the FCC.
Taxation is theft.
Hey man,
But
we're
all
just having
right,
a good
guys.
time. That's all.
All right, Michael. Well, it's been good having you, and
Yes.
we look
Oh
forward
yeah,
to
absolutely.
catching up next time and getting an update on all your other shows and projects.
Oh, for
and
sure. I
things in the
got a
works.
lot going on. I have a lot big stuff in the works, and I hate when people say big things soon because it's so corny. But big things coming.
Well, it's easier to show than it is to tell. So
That's
I can show, but I would get in a lot of trouble. So I have to get the green light first.
yeah, no, we're gonna have to get some probably some waivers for showing some stuff, but anyway.
Yeah.
all
Some stuff,
right.
you can talk about it, but not when you're live in front of people. Like if it's just like homies just like chilling on the low, then I can be like, "Hey, this is what's going on."
Yeah.
Shut
Yeah,
your
but you don't
mouth.
want to announce it to the world, to the internet, to
Yes,
the
exactly.
FCC.
That's how you get in trouble. Is
They
when you
call
do
you
it on the
FBI.
internet.
No. But
All
all
right,
right.
y'all. Well, it's been a real interview. It's been real in the
course.
meantime, and we will be back in 2 weeks with our next interview series, and we will let you know when we know what we know.
Something like
Alright,
that.
sounds good to me.
Stay frosty, guys.
Alright, peace.